you for coming here. We're here at TOKEN2049. So Glenn, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and why you're here today?
100%. So thanks a lot for the invitation to be here. Hey everyone, my name is Glenn, the Director for Global Affairs at the Blockchain for Good Alliance. So the BGA, for short, we are the flagship non-profit of Bybit, the world's second largest cryptocurrency exchange. So our primary motive to be established in the world is really to advance blockchain as a social tool to, really push global impact forward, public goods, the drill, ESG. We are strong believers that blockchain is a technology to change the world for the better in that direction. So it's not so much just always about crypto, always about hype, right? I'm sure that's where MetaEarth and BGA shares a lot of commonalities as well.
Exactly, yeah, this is why you're here today, because when I found out about your project, it was, we share similar value. We want to use blockchain to actually have a social impact, to solve real issue out there. It's not just about speculation. Do you want to tell us how you empower projects that do these things with the BGA?
Sure, okay, so a quick pitch without it diving too much into it being a sales pitch, right? So the Blockchain for Good Alliance, like I said, right, we're established by Bybit. So this angle is really very interesting in the crypto sector, right? In the blockchain sector especially. You don't really see many exchanges doing something like this. So we have multiple initiatives that we run in the BGA. So there are 4 pillars. The first pillar being a hackathon pillar and an events pillar. Okay. So throughout the world, you see the BGA very actively involved in hackathons. We have a Blockchain for Good track, so we encourage hackers to build and create prototypes to develop solutions to solve critical issues in the world. And in multiple events in the world, we're also there as sponsors. Unfortunately, we're not a sponsor for Token2049 this year, unlike you guys. Next one, maybe. So another thing that we do is an incubation program. Okay. The BGA has an internal incubation program. This is where we provide all sorts of, resources and support to blockchain for good type projects. We are blockchain agnostic, so when we take in a project into our incubation, primarily we care more about the social impact rather than what chain they are on, their tokens. Now we care more about how it really changes the world. So our incubation program gives equity-free grants to projects. We take nothing from the projects. We're here to support them. Nice. We also give them any sort of logistical support they need, be it go-to-market strategies, business advisories, or other forms of mentorship. So there are some projects in our ecosystem that have gotten the attention of our founding company Bybit, right? So there's one particular project called Ethic Hub. They actually received a further $1 million in support from Bybit. So that was big news last year. So primarily hosted by the BGA, and we helped them to really scale up and help them to really make an impact in the world. So the third thing that we do is a collaborative joint fund. I'm going to ramble a little bit. So this is where we pair with institutions. So one of the major partners that we have is actually the UNDP, the United Nations Development Program. And the last one that we have is a annual year-end award ceremony called the BGA Awards. This year is in Copenhagen in Denmark, and I can share more about it with you later on.
Nice, okay. But can I ask you something? Yep. How do you select this project? How do you see the value? What did stand out from this latest project you onboard, for example?
Right, so we look at a lot of metrics when judging these different projects. So there is a very robust system to really filter projects into our incubation. So first of all, we have a community voting phase. So community will have to give their sentiment, on what they think about the projects.
Are you a DAO as well?
Not really. So there is a level of decentralization as well as centralization. Because I'm a big believer that there needs to be sort of an equilibrium, you can't have too much of one thing, right? So at the same time, I think that this will actually lead us to a bit more of an interesting process where we have a board of advisors who actually actively give expert opinions onto different projects. We conduct interviews, and when they meet the mark, that's where we take them. Yeah.
Fair enough. At MetaEarth, we are a DAO as well. You could use your MeID to vote on regional matter, on governance. So see, could be some collaborations there.
Maybe.
Who knows? Okay, let's talk about sustainability and ReFi. Okay? Because, MetaEarth, we empower coders to build applications that do carbon footprint tracking. What do you think about this? Do you think ReFi will be the future? Do you think actually blockchain can help sustainability this way?
I think it really depends on the execution, right? So when it comes down to questions like this, right, I always like to say that there is no universal yes or no, right? Blockchain can definitely be something to bolster, the authenticity of, say, tracking for ReFi-based projects. So that's something that I definitely can say that there is potential in really helping the entire ecosystem forward, especially in the regenerative finance area. But it all boils down to execution, because like you said, right, data can be faked, right? And when it comes down to blockchain, yes, there is a huge potential to really bolster authenticity with blockchain. But at the same time, I'm also, this is personal opinion, but I'm also sort of a believer that, even at the point of, uploading information on chain, it has to be also, authentic at that point.
Yes,
if not everything else from there,
Yeah.
from the genesis, is going to be fake as well. So I think the execution is going to be very important.
Of course.
Then definitely that's where it can definitely be helpful.
Yeah, makes sense. Have you onboarded any project that are using blockchain for sustainable purpose?
A lot, actually.
A lot.
A lot. So a lot of our projects actually focus a lot heavily on the ESG side of things.
Okay.
Right. So when we talk about blockchain for good, normally the first impression that people tend to have is, oh, it's not a sexy topic, right?
Yeah.
People start to think that it's more for governments to handle, it's more for charities and philanthropy.
Yeah.
And as a result, I mean, we do have a lot of projects that come in trying to greenwash themselves in that angle. So, but after all these different filtrations and all, we actually do come in with the angle that I just saw a friend. Yes, we do take in many projects based on sustainability. So we have a robust process to make sure that these projects are what they say they are, and not greenwash projects. A lot of people come to tell us that, you know what, I'm a blockchain for good because I help people get rich.
Yeah.
And getting rich is a good thing. Therefore, it's blockchain for good. It does make sense, right?
No.
So yes, we do have really authentic projects that are, sustainability. For example, we have projects in food tech, agriculture. We have projects that are benefiting farmers in rural areas, helping them to microfinance themselves. We also have, projects that are helping cats. There's an animal shelter that has an NFT marketplace, different cat pictures uploaded, actual cats itself.
Nice.
So they tokenize the cat. And of course, it's to help them, get more their forever home. We can trace who actually adopts these cats.
That's nice.
These are all projects in incubation.
You can literally use blockchain for everything.
Anything
we don't even imagine.
Correct, but you must do it the right way.
Yes. So basically, we are a modular blockchain, and we are creating this decentralized ID called MeID that you can use to prove your personhood and eligibility without exposing your data. Okay. On the top of this, we are, through our tokenomics, we are creating an unconditional basic income. So basically, every time you do your MeID, you receive your MEC, then you stake, that keeps generating income. You can invite more people, like you have different tasks that you can do to earn. And we are hoping, we're not listed on any exchange. We launched the token more than a year ago, and we don't want to be listed until we get 10 million users.
Oh, you don't want it to be?
We don't want it because we are trying to create an unconditional basic income. In fact, our biggest community are in places like Nigeria, Pakistan. What do you think about this? Do you think the blockchain can actually help solve wealth inequality somehow, or is that utopia?
So when the question you're asking is whether it makes sense or is it just a utopia?
Yeah, if the blockchain can actually, even through the project that you saw, not necessarily with MetaEarth. I think there's many different projects that are trying to do something from an unconditional basic income perspective, no? Do you think crypto could help? So I'm not saying solving, but could tackle a bit this issue, could help solving this issue?
I actually think it can. So you talk about understanding your ecosystem a bit more. You talked about you have an MEC token, and you have the MeID. So I think that all these come together in synergy, right, to create this whole ecosystem that MetaEarth is creating. So I think it's a very nice approach because there are so many regions in the world where you see people who don't have any form of identity, right?
Yeah.
Centralization has definitely worked. Of course, everything has pros and cons. So there is good decentralization. There is also good to decentralization. In areas such as like sub-Saharan Africa, for example, so many people there don't have an identity. Without an identity, they cannot get employment, they cannot get a bank account. And when we bring in what you guys are trying to do, I think it makes perfect sense because it works by allowing all these people to really start to receive the basic needs of people, and UBI is definitely one of them. But it also comes down to the execution in real life, right?
Yes.
Because these individuals in these areas who are unbanked, who don't have access to universal healthcare, universal income, these may also be people who don't understand blockchain, who don't understand, how technology works, or even may not have access to the internet. So I think that the link between actual execution and what you guys are trying to do is going to be super important, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. I mean, education is at the basic.
Absolutely.
You need to run events in these places. We have planned to run workshop and event in Nigeria starting from the next few months. Yes, to grow our community there and educate them. But definitely, it's execution is a big gap, and you need to properly understand how to do it in order to.
We can definitely discuss a little bit more because the African region is also somewhere that the BGA is looking to expand into.
Nice.
In the near to medium term. So we can definitely work on something like that.
Partner up for some event there.
Exactly,
why not?
Exactly, yeah.
Guys, I'm telling you, Token2049 is the place to do partnership, to get jobs, to meet people. If you want to get a job in Web3 or partnership, you gotta come to these events, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Do you think Web3 technology will evolve when it comes to driving social purposes. What area do you think they will evolve in, and what excites you the most?
Right. I think that with how the current generation is, especially the younger generation, they are super huge on sustainability. They want to change the world. They are daring. They are more bold than previous generations, especially in embracing all these new concepts, which are not really new, right? It's just underappreciated, right?
Yeah.
Sustainability, ESG, the importance of saving the world, making lives better for everybody. These are concepts that I think the younger generation now are very focused on. And
they're more awareness.
They're brave. They're more aware. Exactly. So I think as the technology develops for Web3, probably we'll see more projects like you guys, small tech stacks that are coming up. They are specific to allow for applications to be built to really change the world. Something I'm super enthusiastic about is this shift in the direction where we don't just see blockchain as an equal term to crypto, because that's such a huge misconception, right?
Yes.
People think that blockchain is crypto. It's just a subset of it, right? I mean, crypto is just a small part of blockchain. So I think that as we grow and the industry matures even further, we'll start to see a lot more traditional players coming in. Governments, institutions, we are already working with many around the world.
Yeah.
They are starting to embrace blockchain for what it is, for its capabilities to really solve problems. And once you have that support on the institutional level, the governmental level, this will encourage more innovators to step up, and then the technology itself will start to grow, people will get more awareness, and then that's where you can really say that there will be mass adoption, and blockchain is something that changes the world for the better, and it's not just hype.
100%. One of the most talked about narrative in Web3 right now is RWA. Everyone talks about it, like at the stage they talk about it.
Yeah.
What's your vision on that? Have you also maybe onboarded projects that are related to this? What do you see this going?
Okay, so a little bit of interesting thing about RWA, right? Because outside of the BGA, I'm also a founder of a small project. So
Okay.
I'm focused on real asset tokenization, but
Nice.
primarily for alternative assets. So my focus is actually on luxury assets, from authenticity to fractional ownership of those assets.
Nice.
But this is different from the tokenization of real world assets when it comes to social impact, right? What we're talking about in the BGA lens at least, right, is, RW tokenization, talking about land deeds, talking about, ownership of, and rights to assets in the real world, and carbon credits, how we want to change that. So the entire paradigm is different because tokenization is so big, right? But I do think that it is something that will have a huge impact in the social realm, simply because everything is going to go on chain, everything is going to be paperless, every trust is evolving, authenticity is evolving. So when it comes down to tokenization of real world assets, I think that governments will start placing more emphasis on proven ownership of things such as land rights.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about this because we are the players behind the global SDG blockchain accelerator, which is in conjunction with the UNDP, as well as a lot of other partners that we are working together with. So we have seen many projects submitted into the ecosystem that tokenize land, tokenize agricultural aspects. So these are real assets being tokenized on chain. So in projects like this, I think that they are making a real impact because people understand that it's not purely digital anymore. That's the key of it, right? It's not just digital. The real world is getting on chain. It's not just speculation. It's not just something that you can't see and feel and touch. I think that just to add a quick point as well before we wrap up, right? When it comes down to tokenization of real world assets, I think the most important thing is, of course, regulation and compliance as well. Countries have different laws regarding that. Some jurisdictions do recognize it. Some say it's outright, outlawed unless you have a license, for example. So I think that seeing how the different areas in the world start regulating this entire industry, especially tokenization for RWA, is going to be something to be looked out for.
Definitely. Well, Glenn, thank you so much for being here with me and answering my question.
Absolutely.
And if you guys want to follow them, where they can follow you, give us some...
You can find us on LinkedIn and X. Of course, our username is Chain4Good on Twitter, as well as just search for us on LinkedIn. Our website is chain4good.org. That's where you can find all our information on our upcoming events.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Glenn.
Thank you.
Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Same to you.